your dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Yeah, what's going on? This is Jalen from Knick Of Time show here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to talk about another Knicks loss because the Knicks lose to the Pistons in a heartbreaker, 119 to 124. We're going to talk about it all. The good, the bad, the ugly, the mixed defensive cues, the refs, all of the above. But before we talk about it, I want to introduce you to my guy, the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, Lee Escobedo. What's good, Lee?
What's up, brother? Glad to be back on the show. If there was one silver lining to tonight's loss, it was cool to see three players from the South Dallas, North Texas area in Cade Cunningham from Arlington, Ron Holland from Duncanville, and Marcus Sasser from Red Oak, where my dad lives. All three of them, two of them which I've watched since they were freshmen in high school, ball out against my Knicks and play really well. It's cool that Detroit is a team that has three players that I was vastly familiar with and covered as when they were in high school. Seeing them in the pros, all three in the first round, very cool to see. The game, not so much.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. And you know what's funny? There was three standouts today, maybe four. Again, we got Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns is battling a thumb injury, Mikal Bridges, and sprinkle some campaign in there. And we had a competitive game. And funny enough, like, I'm kind of upset that we lost this game because to me, this was probably my favorite Mikal Bridges game.
Yeah.
This was one of my favorite Mikal Bridges games because I think it was his best two-way game of the season, but it ended in a loss. And what I really loved about it is, we have Cade Cunningham here, who's been on a heater this whole season, helped turn these Pistons around, was struggling in that first half. Hit maybe like 4 shots, was in foul trouble, was discombobulated. Everybody, we've been talking about point of attack defense, and this is why Mikal Bridges is here. He was on him like a cheap suit, and it showed. And then when Cade got going in the third quarter, it wasn't like, oh, Cade got some open shots. Cade had like one open three from a kind of late Mikal closeout to start the game. But after that, Cade just hit ridiculously tough shots to get going. And when the game was on the line, 1-on-1, Mikal versus Cade, Mikal made it difficult, and he made a miss. And then on the other end, Mikal was hitting threes. So I thought, like, man, this feels like a game that's going to be a feel-good team win because of the defense, because of, Jalen Brunson, 30 plus points, 11 assists, Karl-Anthony Towns fighting through energy. This was set up to be a good team win, but we had some miscues in the fourth quarter that I felt like needs to be addressed. There's certain things that I see people feel like, they don't want to take this loss too bad. I don't want to overreact over the loss, but I still feel like there are some long-term concerns that I have about this team defensively that I still haven't seen fixed at this point in the season. Hopefully it's fixed later on this season. But to me, for us to be taken seriously, to be a contender, we have to clean up certain things defensively, especially in crunch time, especially in the fourth quarter. So that thing is concerning to me. I don't know. What do you think, Lee?
Typically, my role on this show, I've been known for my hot takes and supreme optimism. I tend to jump out the window very early and project very wide sweeping optimistic takes for the season. This is the first season since I've been a part of KOT that I feel like my hot takes are regressing as the season goes on, opposed to increasing. While I still think I agree with Monica Nut, I have not given up on the Knicks being a contender. I am becoming more concerned about that being a reality of them winning a championship this season. One, because Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the greatest teams I've ever seen in my own two eyes. And two, the Knicks have been increasingly inconsistent offensively and overall pretty poor defensively. Again, I have not gotten too high over wins or too low over lows. This Detroit Pistons team is very good. They are a very good defensive unit. They play with a lot, really high chemistry. They haven't really torn their roster apart too much. So they have that same young core. It's been there for about 4 or 5 seasons now, expertly coached by Bernie Bickerstaff, who really has defensive acumen and has turned them into a very consistent high motor energy team. On the flip side, the Knicks have really struggled throughout this season to have any level of defensive identity. Some teams are really good at guarding the point of attack. Some Thibodeau teams are typically good at guarding the level below and at the rim. This Knicks team is poor in both of those. They're poor in guarding the perimeter. Most of all, they're poor at guarding the pick and roll. And that accumulation of deficiencies has really made us a team that can lose to just about anybody on any given night, no matter how we're playing offensively, is because we cannot close defensively. We have the Mikal who can hit a three. We have Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns who go scorch earth, but we don't have the defensive individual players or the unit in the starting five or the bench until Mitch gets back to really be able to close out teams in the final 5 minutes. This also goes into I'll make this one short. I put this L on Tom Thibodeau. And the reason is because of the inflexibility and the fact that he has not made that adjustment I talked about last time I was on the pod. Thank you for letting me host with Ebony. And I've talked about every season where he makes that adjustment, typically between late December and mid-January, he makes an adjustment that changes the course of his season, and we play our best basketball in the spring. That adjustment has not came. And I hope whenever he makes it, it involves us incorporating zone into our defensive scheme.
Zone into his like what adjust? You feel like the Knicks should play more zone?
I think we should play more zone. We should mix it in. We should predominantly play zone. We shouldn't play zone the majority of a game, depending on the team we're playing. But there should be moments where we absolutely switch to zone just to throw them off their steam, because I've seen it happen to us. I've seen OKC, Miami, and now Detroit employ a zone in stretches. Sometimes they'll go zone, then go back to man. They'll make the substitution. Someone comes in. Now they're more a bots in one, or they're playing really blitzing the pick and roll. I would like for zone to be at least something that we can pull out when certain lineups are on the floor that help us become more of a defensive unit, opposed to individual guys trying to contain whoever they're switched on. And usually that's the best player on the opposing team. It's killing us.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But also it's like, when we constructed this team, knowing Jalen Brunson is a phenomenal offensive player, but he's a guy who's going to be haunted. We also knew that Karl-Anthony Towns has his limits defensively as well, and he doesn't always protect the rim. Today, the Pistons really took advantage of Jalen Brunson. They pretty much hunted it the entire game. Like, to the point where it's like, it didn't matter who Jalen Brunson was on, you're playing defense today. Brunson, you're guarding Sasser, ISO Sasser. Brunson, you're guarding Cade. ISO, like, you're gonna force the pick on, so Brunson has to guard Cade, so you have to double, because we already know Cade is gonna kill Brunson. Like, they were hunting Brunson all game long, and they used that to their advantage in the fourth quarter. And the thing about this team was our wings are supposed to help cover that. And part of the coverage for that are the rotations. So it's like, all right, cool. We know going ahead of time, we're hunting Brunson. But like to leave Beasley open in the same spot 2 consecutive plays and to be late both times, to me, is crazy. It's crazy because like I'm watching the game going, it's gonna be pick and roll. It's gonna be Tim Hardaway pick and roll. Like, they literally just ran the same play. They're gonna try to do a Tim Hardaway pick and roll. They're gonna try to force a switch and then get an open three. And it worked 2 out of the 3 times. So it's like, us knowing the play is coming, we have to be better prepared to have crisper rotations. And there's been times in the season where the rotations have been really good, and there's been times in seasons where it's been really poor. It was disappointing knowing what play was coming, and the rotations were still poor.
Definitely agree on rotations. The reason that I brought up zone this game, and I haven't brought up it before, because the Detroit Pistons, while they're good and they've improved dramatically on offense, they they are a team that you want to employ zone against. Because they really, within their 9, you could even say a 10-man rotation that they play when they're fully healthy. I believe they played 10 tonight, if memory serves correct. They only really have 3 guys, 3 who are capable in the minutes they're given to be a high volume 3-point shooter. That's Cade, that's Beasley, and that's Tim Hardaway. They don't have a stretch 5.
Yeah.
You can make whatever assumption you want to make about Isaiah Stewart. His 3-point shooting's fallen off a cliff this season to the point where he's not even taking them anymore. And he's the backup this year. He was starting last year, backup this year. Jalen Duren doesn't shoot threes. Tobias Harris is someone you can play a zone and let that shot be the shot that you live with defensively and stop the other 4 options. Sir Thompson, right now, a horrible 3-point shooter.
Yeah, we saw that.
Isaiah Stewart, I mentioned him.
Yeah.
Sasser, inconsistent. Fontecchio doesn't play enough to be a volume shooter. But Beasley, Timmy, and Cade, those are your 3 volume shooters. And to me, there were moments when those guys were staggered and all 3 of them weren't on the court at the same time, besides opening and closing. Those are the moments that we should employ that zone and allow them to beat us in other ways and settle for poor 3-point shots so we can pat the paint and really go out, crash the boards for offensive rebounds and try this in a transition instead of always over-relying on this slow half-court, very slow-paced offense that Jalen Brunson runs. Also on the rotations, I agree. To me, it was a domino effect. Not only were we late on the rotations on the ball screens, we were then late on whoever was doubling that guy that they were leaving open, getting back to that guy, whether it was a hedge back to their own man or someone else having to come over and be the rotator to cover the 3-point line. So we were failing on 2 rotations and closeouts, which really led to Beasley and Timmy being wide open. A lot of that same action they're running off of ball screens and curls is the same type of play calling OKC was killing us with. And I'm sure Bernie Bickerstaff watched that tape and saw how he could get Beasley open on us to really break the game open in the first half to make it competitive. That really hurt us a lot. The Knicks seem to be a team that Tom Thibodeau is incapable of adjusting based on personnel. He plays the same defensive schemes almost every single game. For the most part, there are some slight adjustments, but for the most part, it's a man-to-man defense, and that needs to be diversified in order for us to take that next step and recover from those hones that we have, like Brunson and Cat, and really play better team ball.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't disagree with you. Like, we can stand to diversify the defense. We've been so against zone while other NBA teams employ zone. I don't know why we don't do it as much. I feel like we're switching more. Unfortunately, we're switching with Brunson. I've been calling for more switches. But that's not exactly what I meant, but okay. Oh man. And
pain too.
Yeah, and just more minutes in like I talked about this last post game by myself. Just more minutes from the bench. Like, we got Shamet back. We got Deuce McBride back. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, we should start to see a 9-man rotation now. But we're still going 8-man with more people back. That is confusing me. It's like Shamet was getting like 10 minutes a game, 11 minutes a game. McBride comes back. Now his minutes are cut to 6. So I'm like, bro, like what? I mean, and I get it, I guess. I mean, Mikal looked good today. Like, I felt like Mikal played 37 minutes yesterday, 37 minutes a day. Didn't look tired to me. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. He didn't look tired to me. He like he got stronger as the game went on. Actually, another point of contention for this game for me is the play calling. Cat had an injured hand. Knicks went small, big, pick and pop with Cat. They went away from it probably because Cat has an injured hand. So in my brain, I'm like, all right, you know what? We need to do small pick and pop with Mikal. Works like a charm. Mikal hits a 3. Next play, Mikal was in the corner. Why is Mikal in the corner? The play they learned the same play on us 4 times in a row. Guard to guard, pick and pop. with with Cade and Tim Hardaway Jr.? Why not spam that on the other side? It didn't stop it the first time. Like, that's certain things I'm just like, man, we there's some little things that we could have done to win this game that I think led us, that I think is the reason why this game just kind of just slipped away from us, man.
Yeah, the same way that teams are exploiting us and really switching on to our poor defenders. It's not just Brunson, Cat. It's also Cameron Payne when he's in the game, and in certain mismatches, Precious Achua. We're not attacking our mismatches on the other end. And this has been, again, I try not to complain about things I see in one game or two game. I complain about things at this point that I see as trends throughout the season, and we do not take advantage of mismatches. Cat is really the only player who has Brunson. Obviously, he's a superstar. Cat's the only player, though, in my mind, who has the instincts to take over on mismatches. He sees it, he attacks it, and he calls for the ball. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne, Shamet in limited minutes, Josh Hart. You guys have, listen, for all the talk of Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., and they've been, both of them been excellent volume shooters this season. They are the weak link defensively in that lineup. But they're also two guys the pitcher staff has to play because, as I said earlier, they don't have volume shooting outside of that besides Cade, but Cade's on ball, so he doesn't get a lot of catch and shoot opportunities. Those are the two catch and shoot opportunities, but also make them work on defense and attack them on switches. And we don't do that. We don't attack our mismatches. This was an opportunity for Karl-Anthony Towns to go full bully ball and not just get Durant in foul trouble, but Beasley and Tim Hardaway in foul trouble on switches, which then takes him out of a game, and they don't have enough minutes on the court to shoot threes. These are chain reactions, and we're not taking advantage of that. What's up, Ebony? Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, and I was hoping OG would be more aggressive with Cade. He scored on Cade one time when Cade had his 4 fouls. The next play down, Cade stripped OG and then never went back to it. I was hoping they would keep attacking Cade. Cade had 4 fouls in like the third quarter and finished the game with 4 fouls. So there's like a lot of little miscues. That plus the turnover, the Towns turnover. That play, that Towns turnover on the screen, that's one of those plays where I'm like, man, I've seen so many Miami games with Bam Adebayo setting these crazy illegal screens. I'm like, y'all really gonna call that offensive foul in that situation in a tight game? I mean, it's a nitpicky thing, but it's like, damn, I didn't expect the ref to make that type of call unless it's like some egregious offensive foul, not like a 50-50 one. But
yeah,
that call hurt. That call really hurt. But yeah, salute to Ebony, man. You look a little blurry. I don't know what's wipe your camera or something. Maybe let's see.
Maybe let me see.
Let's see. Maybe that ain't the same.
Look,
That already worked. That already.
All right. Okay, let me do it again. One more again.
Yeah. That already worked.
Yeah, it's becoming a con. What up, y'all? Good to see you back.
Yeah, good to see you.
Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm tired of teams that have show grit, I guess. Teams with young, physical teams we seem to have issues with, and it's a lot of philosophy issues with us. Again, we could point at different points of the game, but if we did a lot of things, I don't know how to put it like this. Okay, put it like this. It was one part of the game where we had Mikal, no, it was actually OG. It was OG on Tobias, and then they switched. They switched. It was a pick that came, and then they switched. They let Jalen Brunson take Tobias. We were letting Jalen Brunson guard Tobias Harris a lot this game, and I couldn't understand it. And then on top of that, on top of us doing this, we also allow him to. Then we want to go double team after we do it. So I switch. If that's what you're going to do, why switch? Because at the end of the day, we just let Malik Beasley and Sassers get wide open shots after that because we go double team down there, and of course the ball moves because that's what it's supposed to do. And I'm like, we supposed to be this defensive, coach-minded coach, but to me, that's crazy. Why do we keep doing the same things and expecting different results? Why switch, not fight over? And I thought we did a better job of fighting over picks today. So before anybody, I did think we did a better job, but it wasn't consistent. And we had a lot of the plays. It's just a lot of lack of focus, a lack of IQ plays. And I don't know why would you switch and then double? Either fight through the screen and stay with the man, but you don't switch and then that means that you're okay with that decision to me. When you switch, that means that's what we wanted. You get what I mean? And then to come back and say, okay, nope, we made a mistake. Let me go double him and leave the shooters that everybody know is the shooters wide open. I can't call that. That's crazy. And it's a lot of we did better with the movement, but it still was up and down. There was a lot of dead plays where it was just Jalen Brunson or somebody bailing us out, but it wasn't good offensive plays. And today we played against a young, youthful team who's playing the way I would like the Knicks to play. They move the ball, they get easy, they try to get in transition because they don't want to, they're a young team. They don't want solely to depend on their half-court offense. So you got to get it elsewhere. You got to get it off the second chance points. You got to get it in transition. You got to get it off your defense. And this is we see other teams do it and we just go away from it. And I heard Lee saying about making mismatches or going against it, that we don't do that either. Brunson at the end of the game, he redeemed himself, but that was a wasted possession that we seem to need now, as because we lost. When he has Stewart on him and he pulls up a 3-pointer on Stewart.
Yeah, that was probably one of the worst decisions, and he knew it when he shot that. That was one of the worst decisions of the game.
Yeah.
And an important part of the game.
And he redeemed himself. He got Stewart on him again the next offensive possession, and then he takes him to the basket and he makes it.
Right.
Things like that. So we've beaten ourselves. We're not playing smart basketball, and it's not. And it's we have spurts of good basketball, but we don't have a whole good game of focus and smart basketball on either ends. Yeah, I'm over it.
Go ahead, Lee. I thought you want to say something.
No, I was going to ask you guys, who do you put this loss on? Because Ebony, before you got here, I put it squarely on Tom Thibodeau's head for a lack of creativity. And I argued when you and I were on the show together, every year he's made an adjustment, whether it was on offensive side or defensive side, a rotation adjustment, a starting lineup adjustment. He's done something that has kick-started a winning streak to where we play our best basketball in the spring, lead into the playoffs. It almost seems to be a plan of his, right? He lets things fester and experiment the first 4 months, then he makes a change based on data and film, and then that's when we play our best basketball and start clicking. He's yet to make that change, and we're kind of at the end of that period that he usually does it in, which is the middle to end of January. Who do you put this loss on? Is it someone else besides Tom Thibodeau? Because Detroit's not better than us, not on paper, not in real life. So to me, there's a responsibility. It might be more than one person, but to me, I put this L on Thibs. What about y'all?
I do too, because you can't think that again Jalen Brunson on Tobias Harris is good defense or a good matchup or anything good is going to happen for you with that matchup. You get what I mean? Same thing with the offense. It was a lot of standing around. It was so many times where I clipped some stuff during the game. That's how angry I was because I seen it. It was so many times where we're just a bunch of people like this. You see them in the pocket, like I'm waiting for it in my pocket, and that's not offense to me. That's not offense. And then you set one pick and then there's one pass. When we started doing our best is when the ball started moving, when that extra pass started happening, when Mikal started moving. Again, I tell you, Mikal on the move, that's his bright spot. Him not being able to have to think, like when he doesn't have to think, we get good Mikal. It's like he maybe gets into his head a little bit too much, maybe. I don't know. But when it's just catch and shoot or move and shoot, you even seen with the behind the pass with Cat, he fumbled that. He wasn't expecting it, but he didn't have time to think about it. So let me just take this off because it keeps falling off. So he didn't even have time to think about it. He just turned up and went around and it went in. Like when I just think Tom Thibodeau does not work with his players. He works with his system and he expects you to fit in that. And that's just it. And I get it. I understand that. But a sign of a good coach is to help get the best out of your whole team. Like that's just it. You can't keep doing the same things and expecting different results. Oh, I'm gonna keep doing this. Something got to give. Something has to give.
I'm thinking through this right now. When I think about the biggest reasons we lost this game, I think about the transition defense being poor in general. I felt like the turnovers into the transition defense was really bad in the first half. I also feel like fourth quarter execution was also terrible, for sure. There was a lot of mistakes in that fourth quarter from, like you said, the Jalen Brunson pull-up three was bad. That's a Brunson decision. The Karl-Anthony Towns pick that ended up being an offensive foul. Can you say that's Karl-Anthony Towns? I don't know. I feel like that's a weird call by the ref and Jeff Stock and ref Scott Foster. I thought that was just a weird call in general. There was the turnover that Jalen Brunson made in the fourth quarter that was kind of blunder. To me, those were key moments. But then, like the bad defense in the last four possessions, to me, was probably the most glaring thing to me. Where I'm saying, you know what, this is game time. We're supposed to be the veteran team. We shouldn't be beat by the same four times in a row. I think to me, that's the most glaring thing where I'll say that's where we lost the game. And who was responsibility? So then I'm talking through this as I'm thinking about my answer. So it's like, all right, so why did that happen? Is it so Ebony mentioned earlier she doesn't agree with switching and then blitzing. I can see that. What would you rather do, Ebony? You rather just straight up switch and then have Cade go one-on-one with Brunson?
But the craziest part, it wasn't even Cade. Like Cade wasn't in the game. That's what I'm.
No, I'm
it
talking
was
about
just,
the last four plays of the game where they did a guard to guard screen with Brunson with Cade and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah, you have to. When we were doing it technically in the first half, again, we go away from what was working. We was causing back-to-back turnovers, hedging hard, pause the screens. Though I noticed that they started picking up when the help defender happened to be Cat because he drops down a lot.
Yeah, but you know
But
what?
before that, when Cam Payne was there, I was like, okay, Cam, he was showing good pick and roll point of attack defense. They were being real aggressive with those screens today, and that kind of changed as the game went on.
Brunson is not Cam on defense. That's for damn sure.
Now, he's not, but even Brunson, I could honestly say his spirit was a little in the first half was a little bit better of trying to get over these screens and things of that nature.
They were hunting Brunson all game, so he was probably trying to conserve his tent because he wasn't here before, but they hunted Brunson on whoever was guarding it. It didn't matter if the ball boy was in. If the ball boy was in and Brunson was on him, the ball boy had the delight to go one-on-one.
Yeah, no, that's facts, and they doing the same thing with Cat on that pick and roll. As the help, if they see him as the help, they're going at him. They're going at him. So something has to give. That's a coaching help. That's you have to find out how to help your players in that situation.
Right, and then it gets to the rotations. It's like, all right, cool. If you don't agree with blitzing, you can say that's a coaching thing. Why is the same player wide open in the same spot? If you know that play is coming, shouldn't the players know, hey, I'm not going to have Beasley open. I'm at least going to rotate to him quickly because I already saw this play 3 times before. Is that a player thing where like your player IQ needs to be a little bit higher?
I get what you mean in that aspect, but it's also a coaching because you're doing what you're used to. You're doing what the system is used to. I've watched it all game. I'm not going to give this game away in the fourth quarter because I watched them do it all game today of them leaving wide open shooters.
But the coach is not on
open.
the, and this is what I'm saying. You can say, all right, I don't want you to switch here. But if I'm a player and I'm on the floor and I can see the play happening, I see it on my TV. I see it on the couch. I'm on the couch going, oh, the ball's going to Beasley in the corner because it just happened. If I can see that on the motherfucking couch, can an NBA player who gets paid 15, 20 million a year in the game see that?
We're on the couch. That's why you want movement, because that's what gets it. You have to think. You have to move and think, and that's not always what you can do. That's why you want movement. That's exactly what you just said, because you know somebody's over there. But if the ball is moving faster than I am, I'm trying to recover now. Accidents will happen. Mistakes will happen.
But Ebony, this is what I'm saying.
And again, if it's a system, Jay, if it's a system, but believe me, who is our coach? They have a system. If this is what they're taught, is this the way they're taught? They're going to do it the way the coach is asking, the way that their system is brung up.
I'm sorry, I can't put 100% everything on the coach every time when I see the same play happen 3 times in a row. I'm not a dummy.
We still having problems. Jay, we're still having problems with the zone. That's a coaching issue.
I'm not talking about zone. I'm specifically talking about this.
I'm saying in general, this whole loss, the reason where we having close games, period, that's coaching. That is a coaching issue. Our offense is terrible and it's predictable. People know our inbounds pass before we even start. Like it's just over. The whole league could tell us what we're doing. That is terrible, Jay. That is terrible.
It's moving the goalpost because before
it's period. No, it's all game.
I'm talking about the defense. I'm talking about the 4 defensive. They ran the same play 4 times in a row. This is what I'm talking about. I know all the offense, we top 10, all the concerns of the offense. Freaking Brunson had 31 and 11. Cat had 26. We scored 119 points. The biggest problem wasn't the offense today. As predictable as the offense was, that's not even been the biggest problem this season. The biggest problem this season has always been the defense. Always been the defense.
I agree.
They run the same play 3-4 times in a row. Yes, you can say the coach scheme is wonky, you can say that, yes. But at the end of the day, if I can see that on my couch that the ball is going to the corner in Beasley, I'm going to at least attempt to rotate faster, knowing I've seen the same play 3-4 times in a row. If I have any resemblance of any type of basketball IQ, I'm on the floor. Move.
I get it, but I don't know about it. I question our players' basketball IQ too. That's why I said instead of the gym, they need to be in the film room. Maybe. Our coach maybe he need to run some practices. Maybe.
I want to add something. I in this situation, I tend to agree with Ebony because before she hopped on, I mentioned that Beasley play that you're talking about the 4 times. There was a variation of that run by OTC with Isaiah Joe and the same decision making by the players in order not to recover and to hedge on that possible potential corner shooter was left open, the same, even at a higher ratio for Joe than it was for Beasley tonight. And those are 2 of the top 10 shooters. So that's also, yes, it is a decision-making on the court in the moment. It's also a scheme where Thibs is saying, don't give them this up, give that up. And so these as Ebony said, these players are running the routes and doing the things they are coached to do because that's how the system is constructed to be.
How good have we been defensively all season?
Ass in every aspect.
How good have Thibs' defensive teams been defensively in his career?
Elite.
Okay. So if Thibs has had elite defenses every season, and this season it seems to be wonky, do we assume everything is on Thibs? Or everything is on the coach? Or everything's on the players? Or do we assume that, hey, I've had this reputation of being an elite defensive coach ever since I've been the assistant coach from the Celtics. I'm now my 4th, 5th season on the Knicks. There could be something going on here that's not just me.
Can I say something to that?
Yes.
Can I say something to that?
I want to follow up.
If you do the same thing over and over with no added tricks, people catch up, Jay. That's what it seems like it is right now. Like people are, they
Yo,
know what Tibbs
I
wants.
guarantee,
They know what Tibbs is going to do. They know
yo,
what he's scheming to do.
I guarantee
That just
you,
seemed to me.
I guarantee you the scheme was not wait in the paint while the guy in the corner catches the ball and gets a clean look. I guarantee,
I get, I
I
get it,
bet
Jay.
everything in my
But
bank account
we
that
going
no, they were supposed to be already been rotated. I watched this team pre-rotate when the ball
Yeah.
swings for most of the season. They pre-rotate and anticipate where the ball goes before the ball even gets there. I've seen that all season.
Yeah, I just want to say shouts out to Fritz for his comment. You need to adjust to your personnel. Facts on facts.
I do want to finally add my response. Two things. Number one, this is the most un-Tibbs team Tibbs has ever coached. This team is no longer built to his strengths. It's no longer built to his defensive or offensive identity. It's not a read and react team. It is a starting lineup of players who need plays ran for them because they're used to being the focal points of the offense. This also defensively, there are too many weaknesses. He's never played with a team that has a weak point of attack and roller guarding big man on the same squad in the same starting lineup that plays the most minutes on the team in Cat and Brunson. In Minnesota and Chicago, he never had that. So this is the weakest roster of defensive players he's ever been equipped with, and that's a Leon. That criticism is on Leon, is a huge risk by Leon to go all in on offense and trade guys who were part of your defensive identity for juggernauts offensively. I'm not saying that Devo or Randall are great defenders. Randall was a lazy defender, but Devo was a strong deflection, passing lane, steals defender, and he caused a lot of chaos on the end while being able to guard the point of attack fairly decently the same way Payne did. Second, the game has changed. Thibodeau was an elite defender, and I said answer your question with a yes, because when he was coaching Chicago and Minnesota, the game was different. It was mid-range, it was driving, it was post-ups. Now it's perimeter-oriented, and his schematics no longer are dominant defensively against the modern NBA schemes. The game has passed him by in that regard. He's still a great coach, in my opinion, estimation. This roster is not a great fit for him, though.
The game is passing by. I feel is such BS because we were saying that last year, and we were still a good defensive team last year. Secondly, I'll say this: when you said offensively, we're not a team. We're not a team that can play together offensively. I still stand by. We're still a good team offensively, and that is not our problem. The biggest problem, the thing that I took from you that I agree, the thing that I took from you, Lee, that I agree with wholeheartedly is we have Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns who are weak defenders. OG, Mikal, Josh Hart, those guys are strong defenders. They have the reputation of being strong defenders. So this is the first time he's had to deal with having weak defenders at the point of attack and at the center position, which is a lot to work around. And that's what that's what we're struggling with. That's really what we're struggling with right now. And the plan was to, you know what, we're gonna be so strong on those other places, we'll be able to rotate and get to those players and da. But we haven't been rotating and getting to those players. Matter of fact, Cat was forced to rotate one time to get to Beasley, to close out on that three, and he got there too slow. Like, I don't know if Cat is supposed to be the one rotating. The second time, I think it was Josh Hart got there like 5 seconds too slow. So, like, I don't know what happened there, but they're not reacting quick enough.
The problem is those two players, and you're right, that was the argument that was part of my argument, was that the 1 and 5 are so weak, but also the other three are playing so many minutes that you don't even have depth behind the 2, 3, and 4 to allow for fresh leads and help relieve, and to where you have a rotating in and out alongside Cat and Brunson of fresh, ready guys who are not overextended in minutes or usage or on-ball opportunities or having to carry the load offensively as well. Those guys don't even play beyond 20 minutes on any given night, a bench player. So he's not just limiting who he has on the court. He's always having two guys out there that would kill you in pick and roll. And the difference on this Knicks team compared to Minnesota and especially Chicago is what happens when the pick and roll breaks down. Now, instead of trying to find a backdoor cutter or trying to ISO in the mid-range, you're worried about the three-point line. And Thibs' defense, since he's been in New York, we have never been a strong perimeter defense. And that's why I say the game has passed him by.
That's Nah, I can definitely agree with that. We give up way too many 3-point shots attempts to a 3-point league. It's a 3-point league right now.
And the
I feel
same shot attempt. As
yeah,
Jay
and
said, the same one, the same spot.
and to good shooters, to the Sassers who
The
shoot
best.
40%, to the Malik Beasleys who going to shoot. Like
Isaiah
we
Joe.
yes, Isaiah Joe. We see them with the percentage, and we keep constantly doing this and mistakes. So I can't. That's what I was trying to tell you before, Jay. I wasn't putting this whole game on four possessions at the end because we did this throughout the game. We have lack of focus consistently. Like that throughout the game, we make crazy decisions defensively and offensively. That's what I was getting at. And at the end of the day, who's in charge of making sure the flow of the game goes the way is the coach because he's putting these players out there. And Clyde says something for all the people that call people minute police. Clyde said it. He said that's not a good sign. He said that shots are a sign of tired legs. If Clyde can see it and say it, everybody else can. Coming straight out the Hall of Famer's mouth. Because that's what shows when you can't stay in front of folks and you can't, and your shots are short, you have tired legs.
Now,
We have to try a little bit of difference, a little sprinkling of somebody else. We have to in order to keep our season or have a chance at this season. We have to do that.
now, the tired legs for this game when it comes to rotations is the only thing I can agree with really. Actually, we was talking about this before you even came on. We was talking about how Shamet has come back with Deuce McBride, and Shamet was he was averaging around 10 minutes a game, 10, 11 minutes a game before Deuce McBride came back. I assumed that the rotation would be expanded to 9 men, but now that we have Shamet back and Deuce back, he went back to 8-man rotation. And that was kind of puzzling to me. It kind of almost makes me think like, damn, like, do the Knicks need to make a trade or something? Does he not want to play Shamet and Deuce and Payne together because he feels like they're too short and they need more length? Because like to go 8 for the entire season and then go to the playoffs, that's too much. That's way too much. And Detroit went 10, and their bench players are at least playing 15 minutes a game at 10, going 10 deep. So if there's an argument to me about why the rotation might be a little step slow, or why they're not cutting as much on offense, you could look to the minutes for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, you have to. Again, we was top of percentage in a lot of like 1 or 2 in like a lot of top 5. I think it was in field goal, free throw, 3-point, and something else. We was the only team that was top 5 in those categories at a point. And then we just went on a slide because tired legs happen. We've all played a time where you wanted to jump for the rebound and your legs just wouldn't allow you to. That happens. We're human, and all minutes are not the same minutes. I wanted to let people know that now. All minutes are not the same minutes. So you got to remember, some of these teams are more physical than others. More matchups are more physical than others, and things of that nature. I think we need to. And when I'm saying play the youth, I'm not saying play them 10, 30 minutes together. That's petty and extreme. I'm asking you to sprinkle them in there. So again, we can get these guys to the end of the season. So we can get to the playoffs healthy.
Got you.
Yeah, the guys that he does play off the bench, he doesn't even play them over 20 minutes. So it's not just that he doesn't trust for whether it's size or ability. The guys he does trust, he's not even playing like most NBA teams play their bench. And furthermore, with this team, this is probably one of the few criticisms I have of Leon Rose and how this team is constructed. Almost any given moment, out of the 5 guys that are on the court, and this includes the starting lineup, you have 2 out of 3 positions that are undersized for their position. Brunson is an undersized point guard, and Josh Hart is an undersized 3. And then when the rotations come in, Deuce is an undersized 2, Payne is an undersized 1, Precious is an undersized 5. You
Right.
always have at least 2 guys on the floor that are undersized, which is why my trades at the end of the show, I'm going after size.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Also, go ahead. Go
Mark
ahead.
said Mark said it definitely with Mitch. We know that, but we got to wait till he get there, and we limping right now. I get it, but that's another thing with Tib being stuck in his ways and only being tunnel vision coach, because for him his defense to work, I really believe you need a rim protector because of the way he guards the wings. You need the rim protector. We don't have that right now, and the one we do have, he's out the rotation. So it's going to look different. We need other things. This player is we have to play better team defense and take better angles. Again, film. That's all I read. Film and practice. That's how that happens. Two things that they say that they really don't do much.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. With all the games, even last year, with all the games happening, Tibbs tries to reserve their players by not practicing as much, except when they have the long layoffs. On the other side, on the other hand, too, like usually we have the tendency to get workaholics here anyway, so they probably practice and shoot on their own because that's just the makeup of our team. But like organized team practices, they don't really have a lot of those during the season.
Yeah, and how do you gain playing time like that?
And you know what? And shout out to Felicia, she mentioned this last show. I do believe the young guys probably. I do feel like the young guys or like the bench players are probably the ones who actually might have actual practices. Especially the young guys being in the G League anyway, so they want to be practicing with the G League players.
Yeah, but what I mean is like how in practice how we always say iron sharpens iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that, I'm your young point guard that's struggling on defense, how am I going to get better defensive wise guarding the likes of other G League players and not Jalen Brunsons and the Deuces? How can I show you I'm getting better if you don't and if we're not practicing? I know that I was taught that that's how you earn your playing time. Your practice. I hated practice. You hear Allen Iverson practice, but I was told that's how you show what you have. And if you're just playing against others, you're not helping. You're not developing those players. It's how I feel.
I wonder how the rest of the league handles the schedule, because you hear about the veterans in general complaining about practice, but you don't really hear the young guys complain about practice. I mean, I guess year 14 into your season, when you ice on your knees, you probably would complain about practice in year 14. But I wonder how other NBA coaches handle practice time versus rest time versus that type of stuff. But
me too. Well, we know Golden State practice. Isn't that where Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole?
the Knicks practice too. They just don't practice, because Thibs has had the reputation of practicing players to death. Like, that was his reputation. So at some point, he cut down because of his reputation and studied how other coaches did it. Probably that time when he wasn't working for that.
I think he got to play them babies.
Salute to the chat. Hold on, because we had a lot of super chat.
Shouts out to chat.
We had a lot of super chat. So first of all, always appreciate all the KOT family who've been rocking with us. We're here after wins and losses. Y'all rocking us with these losses through spirited debates, pro Tiz against Tiz, pro players against opponents players. I just appreciate the support that you guys have given us this season, especially this season, because I feel like, I don't know, like I said, I feel like we've had like weird. We've had more donations this season than I feel like we had other seasons with higher view counts. So I really appreciate you guys, for sure.
I appreciate the chat too. Facts on facts. Can I ask y'all guys a question?
Hold on. No, not yet, because I'm just read these super chats off.
Oh, you got to read the super chats.
There's
My
a lot
bad.
of them.
Go ahead,
It's like I think it's hard the most super chats we had in a day.
Wow.
Sandman sends a $5 super chat. He says another coach comes in and runs circles with his team around Tom Thibodeau. If first round playoff exit means he's gone, so be it. That's the $5 super chat from Sandman. All
Agreed.
right. We already know what time Sandman is on. But Pistons coach is a good coach, man, for sure.
Yes.
Sandman with another $5 super chat says another coach comes in. He ran it back. He just want to make. I'm gonna read it twice for you, Sandman, because he sent it twice. I'm gonna read it twice.
He said, I mean it.
I mean it. Another coach comes in and runs circles with his team around Tom Thibodeau. If first round playoff exit means he's gone, so be it. He spent. Hey, I respect it, man. He spent $5 twice just to get that message through. I respect it. Salute to Blue and Orange Tears, man. Shout out to you, Blue and Orange Tears. Says salute to the GOAT, Jay Ellis. Salute Lee. Great work, everyone. Salute to you, Blue and Orange Tears. Shout out to
Appreciate that.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Freezy over there, Blue Orange Tears. Cory Lee sends a $2 super chat. Says, Ebony, please don't take his head off. He must be agree with you in our debate. Shout out to Cory Lee.
Jay, no, we just passionate out here.
Yeah, we just passionate. Cory Lee sends a $5 super chat. Says, this is why I can't wait until the Butcher number 23 to show up. His presence is needed. We need to fall back and gain perspective. This is a tough loss. Yeah, Mitch is gonna clean up a lot of at least one end of the floor. The stuff at the rim is gonna be a lot less. You can also kind of defend on the perimeter at times too. It's funny enough, I'm really curious to see how he plays this season because the Knicks have been talking about Mitchell Robinson losing weight because they don't want him to be injured again. They feel like maybe the weight might be the issue to his injury. So if he drops weight, he should be moving around pretty faster. He should be lighter. He should be quicker off the floor. Maybe he won't be able to like hold off the MBs like he did before as effectively, but he'll be agile and he'll be able to guard the perimeter even more. So we'll see how that reveals itself once Mitch comes back. Thank you, Cory Lee. Another $5 per chat for Cory Lee. He said, Leon Rose bought these ingredients, KOT family, because this season is a knee-jerk reaction. Huh. This season is a knee-jerk reaction.
Maybe he means the trades that we made were knee-jerk.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's saying. Is it? I feel like the only knee-jerk thing that you can argue is DiVincenzo. Because it seemed like Randall was on his way out because of the contract dispute. We couldn't get Isaiah Hartenstein. We was priced out of Isaiah Hartenstein. So that hurt us. Man, imagine we still had Isaiah Hartenstein. I ain't gonna talk about that no more. I feel like that loss ended up being a huge loss for us for real, out of anything that happened, really.
I agree.
If he shows up in the playoffs, I agree. If he shows up for OKC in the playoffs, then I agree. Until then,
well, Ebony, I'll say for the regular season. Can I put that asterisk there?
Yeah.
Okay. But maybe you could argue DiVincenzo being included in the trade as being knee jerk. Maybe. I don't know how I feel about that. But I appreciate the comment. All right. Go ahead, Ebony.
Yeah, I just want to say real quick because I forget because I see some of the chat. But Felicia, I agree. She asked why can't OKC and the Cavs play 10 players? And I agree 100%. That way. I agree with that question because again, when you play your players earlier in the year, you help them along to gain their confidence. That's just it. These games are not championship games every day. So the closer we get to the All-Star game is further away from we can play these players is how I'm feeling because then you're trying to go into playoff form. You're trying to form, shape your team into what you're trying to do in the playoffs type of vibe. So playing the youth and all that probably goes out the window the longer the season really goes about, So I agree with that. But I wanted to ask a question Do y'all think if we was talking about the scheme of things, if y'all think about Cat, if we allowed him to maybe push up a little bit more, because he doesn't hedge at all. He just straight instantly drops back. If Thibodeau says, okay, like that's here go to coaching. Okay, Cat, stop doing that. You're dropping down too low. You're dropping down too low. Let's see what happens. A couple of plays if you just stunt the man real quick and then come back to your assignment or whatever. Or if we trap them, we blitz them and trap them real quick and then come back, or just keep a real trap, whatever it is. But trying different things. You know, you see how I just named different ways? What about if we did that so we're not as robotic?
Well,
because we're robotic at that end.
We were doing that earlier. We were doing it last year. I don't know why we went away from it, but there was times where Cat would like come up to the 3-point line, trap, recover. We did do that. We haven't done that in a while though. Sure.
JLS is 100% right. I thought I was actually going to have maybe some pushback on that take. That was going to be mine. Karl-Anthony Towns did that in Minnesota. He would stay at the level a lot because he was someone who would get killed when he was at the solitary rim defender in Minnesota, while Gobert was on the bench. He would stay at the level a lot and use his length to contain the perimeter, and then they would have either a Nas Reed or someone else. Sometimes it was even I can't remember, Jaden McDaniels as a rim protector. They would be diverse in how they defended the pick and roll. After maybe November, that was eliminated. I think that was a habit Karl-Anthony Towns had that he did on his own, and I think Tom Thibodeau, just by optics, I think Tom Thibodeau course corrected that and had him drop to be more of a
no, I'm not saying he can't
as he did
do it.
Ihart and Mitch before him. Noel.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying, what about if we just tried it for a couple times? We don't do that at all. He just constantly drops. He really,
I think it's a Thibs decision.
He rarely comes up.
Yeah, and it's funny because you know what, Sue? It's not even that he just drops. Like he did a better job today of putting a hand up, but he'll drop and not play deep. That's the thing that would piss me off about Karl-Anthony Towns. And let me stop because he didn't do that today. He actually put his hands up, but drop doesn't mean you don't even put a hand up. Like you know what I mean? Like what is that? Like,
yeah, and I'm cool. I'm
drop
cool with
and then woo
contest. Yeah, but we can drop at times. You get depending on the matchup, but it's just like we do not scheme towards matchups. It seems it's just our system, just our system, just our system. It's not okay. We're scheming because Cade. We know this is Cade, and we know what he's doing. We shouldn't be dropping on Cade Cunningham. You know, we shouldn't be doing things. He gonna pull up on us every time.
He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA.
Exactly.
Or take it to Cat chest like he started to do in the second half. Because you're giving him a running start now.
Yeah, we are on. Yeah, that you already know the pick and roll is tragic. The pick and roll is tragic.
I've been surprised the chat. I haven't seen a single Thibs defender in the chat. It feels like there's kind of an agreement across most Knicks fans that everyone is very frustrated with the head coach. I'm 100% against firing him in the middle of the season. I think that the concept of Rick Brunson is disturbing coaching the team because he is the #1 assistant coach right now. He got that upgrade over the summer. And even the idea of Mo Cheats dusting off of cobwebs and being the head coach is a scary proposition, or any of Thibs' underlings, Andy Greer or any of those bum guys that he's been around since Chicago. I'm not into that idea. I think that would hurt us tremendously. The optics would be horrible on that. We would look dysfunctional to fire him in the middle of the season. I'm totally against that. But let me tell y'all, this playoff performance is going to dictate a lot. And this summer will be a time where my opinion might change based on how we do in the first and second round.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, frustrating loss. I have concerns still defensively on how we're going to incorporate our wings more efficiently the entire season, whether we're going to open up the rotation, actually have legs finish the playoffs, whether we'll be good at defending the rim or the perimeter at some point in the season. I still have concerns. Season's still not over. We still have a pretty good record. What were we, 26-15? This month is gonna be tough though. Or is it 26-13? Let me see.
I said I got to trade. I trade ISO ball for time and chemistry. That's it. That's just it. That's it. We gotta. It's gonna take some time to gel, but they can't keep doing the same thing. They have to
Right.
try
But
different things.
yeah, but and still it's like I still feel like offensively we're still in a good place overall. Like we've had multiple 30 assist games. My biggest concern is still not offense. It's still defense. And it probably will be the entire season.
I feel like last season we saw a significant dip in how frequent the Knicks ran ISO possessions from 2 seasons ago, where we were top. I think we were number 2 after Philadelphia. Last season we dropped down the middle of the pack. We were like 14th or 15th in isolation frequency. And I think this year, the first 3 quarters, we tend not to do a whole lot of ISO. Ball moves pretty well. We're doing some pick and roll action. We're actually running some off ball. People are cutting. People are slashing. It's a 4th quarter in crunch time. It's at the last 7 minutes when the offense reverts to either Karl-Anthony Towns doing his thing or Brunson doing his thing. And I think that's personnel. When we had Dante DiVincenzo and Isaiah Hartenstein, they were 2 guys who really moved the ball, not just in a fancy cat way where he's like hitting cutters, but just the extra pass to ensure the most high percentage shot. When Timmy was doing it last night, we're giving up a wide open 3 to an even better wide open 3 shooter in Mikal Beasley. That was a really great advantage of having iHeart and Debo. And this season, it's more guys who have that own, like, this is my time. They're used to being in that high volume situation, like Bridges and Towns and Brunson and OG to a certain extent. Josh Hart's really the only one that's being a secondary initiator, and we're really missing that in the 4th quarter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, Lee, and also that comes with we talking about personnel. Yeah, and that accountability I like to hold because again we'll do stuff the first half. Like today, one of the bright spots that I saw in the first half, majority of the first half, was that we played a lot. Jalen Brunson was able to play off ball today. Like he was able to get some catch and shoots. He was able to play freely off the ball a little bit more. Let Cat get more of a playmaking vibe. And then again, when it gets like you mentioned, the 4th quarter would get tight because again, you go to what you're comfortable of in those positions in those pressure situations. And I think that will be where Thibs will come along and implement what he wants, how it should be, or what it is, get them together. But if he doesn't have anything to get them together with, then you get ISO ball.
I agree. I think the purposeful getting Brunson off ball and having Josh Hart bring the ball up and kind of initiate the offense, that seems purposeful. And I think that's a wrinkle by Thibs. So credit to him for implementing that. But you're right. In the 4th quarter, he lets Brunson dictate the offense.
Yeah.
And he doesn't intervene and say, you know what, I think we should actually run this or that. It's Brunson. It's your call. He did the same thing with Derrick Rose. And it can win you games and it can also lose you games as well.
Yeah, that's I agree. Brunson calls the shots.
More super chats.
He has to be. I mean, it's probably right. I said before, it's like I think we should have went to Mikal right back again with the guard pick and pop. And Mikal
him
was
sitting
in the
Mikal
corner.
was crazy too. Sorry.
What you say?
Him sitting Mikal when he was on his little run, that was crazy.
He was trying to rest
him too.
He was trying to rest him to bring him back in the game for the end. Like I didn't have any problems with that because he was already at 32 minutes when he took him out. So if he would have played that and then had to play the end of the game, he would have been at like the 40-something minute mark, and then they would have been like, why doesn't he have any energy? So he had to take him out at some point. But I didn't have any problems with him taking him out at that point.
I don't know why he took Cameron Payne out when he was took it in the first half. I thought Payne should have played. But Payne's minute distribution in general was very wonky, and Landry Shamit's minute distribution was beyond wonky. It was ridiculous.
That's the Shamit minutes is probably the biggest thing that I had issues with today. The Shamit minutes.
It's funny. Deuce kind of sets off Deuce makes Payne play better, it seems, because since he came back, he back on his Payne stuff.
Yeah, he's
right?
starting to shoot better ever since Deuce came back in the building. That's crazy.
And Shaman seems to dropped off a little bit.
Yeah. So let's get shout out to Joe on TikTok who's been rocking with us the whole show. Shout out to you, Joe. I see you, man.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Holding down TikTok for us. If you don't know KOTU on TikTok, so if you want to check out the setup on TikTok. You can too as well. People, my people's on YouTube. Look for us. All right, cool. And also I know Lee had something prepared. I know you guys probably saw.
Wait, we got more super chats, bro.
Oh, more super. Wait a minute. Money.
Gunshots in the air.
Hey. I've never seen so many super chats after a loss. After how many years of doing this? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Potato Head, aka Thibs.
Never seen this many super chats after the loss. I'm sorry, I'm clicking around. Here we go. Let me get to the super chats. We got Cory says, my bad, I had fat thumbs. Wait, I must have missed the I must have missed the typo or something.
He did the super chat.
Okay. $10 super chat from Cory. I see you guys. It says Leon Panic overrated to the Randall contract situation. And he jumped at the chance to he jumped at the chance.
Go to superstar.
He jumped at the chance at his main go-to superstar. Cat. No shot, but at current facts.
I think he's saying that Cannon and Randall and them being far away in negotiations, so he packaged them for Cat, and he's saying that it's not a shot at Leon. He just stating the facts that he feels that the Cat move was an overreaction to Randall not agreeing to a contract or being far away in negotiations.
Got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Thank you for that. Thank you, Lee, for the translation, and thank you, Cory, for the super chat.
I think I saw him mention that in the chat, so it was already in my mind.
Got you.
And Knicks Nation, I agree. I see him said, bring Johnny Bryant back. When Johnny Bryant, I was hoping it wasn't true. When Johnny Bryant left, I was like, damn, is that chemistry and camaraderie? Is it going to like the team aspect? I swear to you.
Ebony, we're still a top 10 offensive team. Can we?
But it's ugly.
Like
it's ugly.
Like last
this
season.
is not sustainable, Jay. That's why I'm telling you this. This is why we're talking about. We do miss Johnny Bryant. You see what they doing over in Cavs?
Hold on. There's someone in the chat agreeing with Ebony because they just gave a super chat. Another one.
Get Johnny Bryant in the building. I'm not disagreeing with bringing Johnny Bryant back. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I'm just saying we're still a top 5 offense.
It's not. We limping, and it's not even All-Star break yet. We're limping.
Are we talking about the offense, or are you talking about the minutes?
I'm talking about period. I don't like the way we look. I don't. I'm just saying. Okay. Because again, I'm watching with microscope on defense. Y'all already know. So I see on a nightly basis, we lack consistency and focus on a nightly. So we have to depend on plays down in the crunch time when we could have handled our business throughout the game, but we don't. We lack focus. We lack IQ. We lacking a lot right now. We've won 2 games since this year started. We're lacking. We're struggling right now.
Listen, I already told you.
And we've lost to some teams, some terrible teams. We're struggling.
Yeah, we're struggling. I'll keep saying it, man. Defense is the biggest problem to me, man. It's always gonna be about the defense for me. Like offensively, I feel like we'll be okay. I do feel like we do need more players. We do need more bodies, and we need to pick up our defense.
If we lose in the East Conference Finals, 7-game series to the Boston Celtics, give Thibs an extension. I'm totally fine with that. Again, I have said since day one, I'm not saying fire Thibs in the regular season. It's all about the playoffs. To me, I got to see a better end game than what we had the last 2 seasons. I have to.
All right.
Gotcha.
All right. What's
another super chat?
More super. Let's go.
Another one.
We just need to argue about Thibs every post.
I'm game. Don't make me.
That's my brand. That's Lee.
It was for a while. It was. You're right. I had to switch up. I had to
Oh, man.
rebrand.
Oh man. Gregory Lee says a $2 super chat says we have no identity, plain and simple.
I agree.
We have no
I agree
identity.
too. We don't.
Offensively,
What's our
I
identity,
agree.
Jay?
We're
What's
we're a 5-out spread 'em ball movement team.
we soft in the middle.
That barely shoots threes.
Well, that's our identity. We barely shoot threes. You're right. We barely shoot threes. We shoot a high percentage, but we're an inside out team who barely shoots threes, but generally we pass the ball. We also soft in the middle. I feel like we don't have defensive. I feel like our defensive identity is not there. Like, I feel like from the beginning of the season till now, there were shades of, is this consistent? Like, we haven't had a game where I've said, okay, we played strong defense from the first quarter to the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say, and that's why in December, when we were winning, I'm like, okay, cool. I like that we're winning, but I'm not calling it a championship team yet. I'm not calling because even though we were winning, I understood that these teams are still kind of bottom feeder teams, and I have to see what this looks like versus higher competition. You know what I'm saying? So I was still kind of looking at the team like, I'm happy we're winning. We're a 9-game winning streak, but I want to see how we respond against top tier teams.
No doubt that all three of us agree that defense is important than offense. I think all three of us agree that our defense is worse than our offense as well.
Yeah,
I think we're definitely in agreement there.
that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's a defense issue, not an offense issue. Yeah, our offense has issues, but defense is a big
Yeah,
one. Sure.
our offense issues are like,
Yeah.
and our defensive issues are like.
Facts.
If I could give a percentage, because we so tired right now at this moment, I'm gonna go 60-40.
Like 80-20.
Yeah, right.
Or 80-20.
Right at this moment, 60-40, because our offense is again, because we have good offensive players like Cat and Jalen Brunson. They bail us out. Doesn't necessarily mean it was a good offensive possession. It's just we got a bucket. You get what I mean?
Yeah, but when you have multiple 30 assist games, I can't just say we have. It's just Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns when we have multiple 30 assist games.
I get it, but again, it's not consistent, Jay. That's the whole thing. It's
But
not consistent. So is that really what we what team are we?
Ebony, we had like what 10, 12 more 30 assist games halfway through the season than we had the entire season last season.
I'm asking you that because I looked through those team stats a lot, right? In the beginning of like the first month and a half or so, we was at the bottom of the league in assists, and then that just got better. That's just getting better. You get what I mean? We were top of the league in percentage of points of 2 points unassisted, 3 points unassisted for a very long time. It's getting better, granted, because of those 30 assist games you're talking about, but that wasn't us the whole season.
It was okay. It was us 3/4 of the season. What are we talking about right now?
I'm just saying. I told you I've
35%
been
of the
looking at the
season.
team stats. That I'm not talking to like the team. We talking numbers and we talking numbers.
Yeah,
we were literally the bottom.
We had 30 assists or around.
Okay, that was good. We had 30 assists a couple times, but according to them stats, we were not a good assist team at all.
How are we? I don't understand.
I got
I don't understand you.
I was trying to do I tried to do the pregame a couple times, so I had to do my research. We were bottom of the league in assists for
last season.
No, this season. When we played Toronto, where was that?
In November?
Yeah.
In mid-November.
No.
We're in January,
November.
Ebony. What are we talking about?
I'm telling you. Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
I'm not disputing November.
Notes.
We're in January.
I'll let you know. Let you know exactly when it started turning around. When I look at the notes, because that's exactly I wrote it down.
My numbers are 90 defense, 10% offense.
I'm 80-20 defense.
I'm 60-40.
And also timeout. We got another super chat. Let's go. Let's go. It's a record.
I feel like Yeah, I feel like we getting all the little small ones is adding up. I appreciate y'all. Yo. Dope show. Hopefully, I'll holla at. I'm guessing saying,
I'll see
dope
ya.
show. Hopefully, y'all have blue and orange tears tonight. Peace and salute. Dope show. Hopefully.
That's his show,
I'll
Cory.
see y'all at.
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
see y'all at blue and orange tears tonight. Peace and salute. Appreciate you, Cory.
It up. I'm gonna look. I'm because I was doing those stats. I tried to look at the numbers since
Yeah.
everybody only understands numbers and the eye test.
No, I know we started off. I already
And it wasn't
know.
just
I was
November
there every
though,
post game,
Jada.
Ebony. I know we started off slow with assists, but then I also know we already beat the amount of 36 games we had in December. Like we only had like 4 or 5 the whole last year, and we already probably doubled that already.
No, I get it. We're doing better, and I've said that multiple times too. But literally, that's not what we've been doing the whole season. I get it's
I
only
never said
half,
we was doing
but
it the whole
we're getting
season.
better. We're getting better at it, is what I'm saying. It's trying. They're trying to get better, but again, we don't know what team we have. If you have a month where we're not an assist team, and then a month where we are an assist team, again, what are we? What is our identity? Like that's all I'm asking.
Typically, as the
And then
season goes on,
you get
tip,
January
tip,
where we only win 2 games so far. So
typically when you have a new team with multiple people on it, the first few weeks or so, you're kind of assessing, and the numbers are kind of just like, eh. But then once you get to like after 20 games or so, like 20, 25 games, that's when you start to see patterns.
Mhm.
So like the first 20 games, okay, this could be something. But then after 20, 25 games, like, oh, we are a team that passes. We are a team that doesn't rotate all the time. We're a team that shoots threes. Like you start to see patterns after a while. So like I, as an NBA fan and a person who's realistic, I don't expect the Knicks. I didn't expect the Knicks to be a top offensive team game one, never playing together, and trading for Cat the day before training camp. Didn't expect it. Same thing defensively. Didn't expect it. What I was hoping for defensively, though, was effort. Even though we weren't going to be perfect with rotations, and I didn't really see that all the time, which is why I was concerned. Still concerned. But you know what? Why are you looking? Go ahead. You know what? Let's get to Lee's segment too, because I know Lee prepared his Sims trade. So for guys, people who don't know, trade season is upon us. There's probably not a lot of trades to be had. If there's anybody to be traded, probably maybe one of the bigs. If that happens, if that happens, so Lee has prepared some scenarios that he thought of could happen that could possibly improve the Knicks team if Sims were traded to another team. So let's break this down for you guys, and I'll pass to Lee. And so take it away, Lee.
This trade was inspired by JL's last podcast when he was solo. I was watching, and he said things that make you go, mentioned about Jared Sims's removal from the rotation. At that time, we didn't know that he had some illnesses, but even before he was ill, he hadn't been playing once Deuce McBride came back. So I thought about that. And when I woke up this morning, being a nerd, I hopped on Real GM and started messing with the trade checker. And I was like, if we do trade Sims, I know that since we're in the first apron, the money has to line up, or we have to bring back in less money. Now, I'm not a trade guy. I do write for Bleacher Report now, but I'm not a Bleacher Report trade aggregator. I'm not someone who gets on here and talks about fantastical NBA 2K trade. It's not my thing. I've actually adopted Ebony's mentality of free as me. And I really like this team. I don't want to give up young players. I'm always hashtag never trade Mitch. But Sims is someone who has now, oddly enough, been reported by Steve Popper in Newsday. He is being shopped. And I believe this call. I think it's a real one, because if there's one element that we have a lot of, it's center depth. And there's one thing that we really don't have a lot of, it's wing depth. So my mind went to everyone making Sims money and below. Who can we target that would satisfy on the CBA, satisfy our need for size? Because I'm sick and tired of, as I said, 2 out of 3 guys on the court at all times being undersized for their positions. So I took Jericho Sims, and I found 2 guys that both bring high-level defense, youth, a cheap contract, and size, most importantly. The first one, GG Jackson. Fire up that graphic. Shout out Fritz. Fritz also made these graphics. And Fritz was my go-to. Him and I were texting today, and I put all my trades through the KOT trade checker, which is Fritz out sitting there in the NBA economy show. And there were a few I sent him. He said, nope, it won't work. And he gave me the breakdown of why, and I learned a lot. So you know me, man. Most improved player of the year award. It's my man, Fritz Hudson. My boy's been killing it, and now he's our go-to trade machine checker. So these are both of these are Fritz approved, meaning they fit under the new CBA financially. GG Jackson. Let's talk about him. Do you have the graphic pulled up here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Pull up.
I appreciate you. All right, GG Jackson. A lot of guys might not know who he is because he hasn't played this season. He's been recovering from a broken metacarpal in his foot, I believe, and he's probably going to be out until the end of this month. He recently has came back for the Memphis. Oh, he plays for Memphis, by the way. He's recently came back and is playing for their G League team, where he started after being, I believe, a late first-round pick or an early second-round pick last season. 19 years old, at one point was the youngest player in the NBA, and the youngest player, I believe, has scored 20, and he scored back-to-back 20-point games last season. The first one being against the New York Knicks. If you remember that Memphis-New York game, he came in and balled out and set his then career high, which will later be eclipsed later in the season, I think a 45-point output, on his way to averaging double digits in his rookie season. Now, when he comes back this season, Memphis has a glut at small forward. So I was me and Ebony talked about this. I'm not talking about let's trade for Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart's not available. Always think about the incentive for the team that you're looking at. Why would they trade X player? Detroit, he is their sixth man. He plays the most minutes off the bench, Isaiah Stewart. He's not coming to the Knicks. They're not trading him. But Memphis has a glut at the 2-3. The wing guys, they have a lot of them. But what they don't have is size and rim protection. They're relying on either Jaren Jackson Jr., who can't rebound to save his life, or Zach Edey, who can't defend to save his life. They need someone who can do both. Jericho Sims is a great cheap option who would come in and play minutes for them. But they don't have to play Jay Huff. They don't have to rely on a rookie to be their lead rebounder, who their rookie is their lead rebounder right now, Edey at 7.5. I think in 24 minutes at center, I actually think Jericho Sims could average double-digit rebounds. He's that good as a rebounder, both in rate and in traffic. So props to Jericho Sims. GG Jackson, what does he bring to the Knicks? 6'9", 215 pounds. Now, this guy, to me, is one of the unlocked wing players in the NBA because we haven't seen enough of a sample size to really know just how high his ceiling is, but we've seen enough off ball and in spurts to know that he does have a ceiling to eventually reach as potentially maybe a 3-level scorer. Even if he doesn't get there, though, the reason that he thrives in the Memphis' offense is because he scores off ball. He has very little plays ran for him, and he's been an elite catch and shoot playmaker, not just a catch and shoot shooter, but also playing in the short roll. I watched clips, highlight clips of GG Jackson, was surprised at his short roll ability. It reminded me of someone else in Knicks at Josh Hart, a guy I've advocated playing off the bench to help self-initiate a lot of the other guys on the Knicks bench who can't get their own shot or create their own shot. GG Jackson would help a lot in that while bringing 6'8" length and height to that second unit to not over-rely on Precious to be our only big guy off the bench. He's also someone who, like Brunson, rejects a lot of screens. He actually likes to catch the ball and go through traffic and absorb contact, draw fouls, and then score at the rim. He's a very good finisher. He could be a very good finisher off the bench, which would help because if he plays with the starters, no plays would be ran for him. He would be in that Grimes role, that Fournier role, where you're catching shots downhill. He's very good downhill, or catching shots in the perimeter. He shot 35% from 3 last year as well. On defense, last season, the Grizzlies were 4.3 points per 100 possessions better defensively with Jackson on the floor opposed to off. And the Memphis system and their head coach is very similar, Taylor Jenkins, to Thibs. They don't care how good you are a shooter. It doesn't matter how good of an on-ball trade you are. You better play defense, and you better play defense hard with effort, with a motor, or you're not getting on the court. That's why he got on the court. That type of mentality, I'm thinking about that. I'm not thinking about someone who's playing in a system where they're chucking threes and not playing any defense. I'm coming from a system that's Thibs-esque in Memphis, so it made sense that would be a target that Thibs, if he acquired, would actually play, unlike Cam Reddish, unlike Kemba Walker, unlike Evan Fournier. This guy, I think Thibs would be like, damn it, the numbers speak for themselves. And once you get him in practice, that motor is going to convince anybody who might be a doubter. I also love the fact that he's 19 years old and is already advanced for his skill set on both ends of the ball. Under Thibs' system, a great developing coach, as I've argued for, I think he would really thrive in that bench role. What's the trade? Here it comes. This one might hurt a little bit. I think 2 seconds, Sims, a future swap for this upcoming draft in 2026, then it's going to be top 5. Let's not front like that bet's going to be great. It's going to be 27, 28, 26, like it usually is, and Pacome Dadiot. Why Pacome Dadiot? Because Memphis is divvying up on a player who is 19, on a rookie still deal, has a lot of potential. You got to incentivize, because there are other teams that they start sniffing around that have great front offices and a lot more draft capital than us, could up the ante. Pacome Dadiot, you swap out a raw project for a young guy who can come in and play now. Dadiot is probably 2-3 years away being part of a Knicks rotation. I think Gigi Jackson would come in and play immediately. So if Taylor Jenkins signs off of him being a part of the rotation, so is Thibs.
All right. I like that breakdown, Lee. I like that breakdown, Lee.
About the stats and the facts, like my man Ryan G.
Yeah, man. You brought it all. You brought the reason. Give him the stats, give him the history, why you fit. I like that breakdown, Lee. Sandman gives us $2 super chat. He says Portland is a good
another
trade
super
partner as
chat.
well. Yep. For wings. Shout out to Sandman.
True. Unfortunately for Portland, unlike Memphis, I think their wings are probably the only position that they're going to keep for the long term. Their guards, like Scoot Henderson, look very inconsistent. Their 7 or 8 freaking centers they have on the roster are all either horrible on offense or horrible on defense. Their wings and Shane Sharp and Tarmari are really the only ones who are keepers. I don't see them being traded with the Knicks. I don't see them being a trade partner for us, because why would they want Sims when they have 7 centers? But Memphis needs centers. They're playing a big white guy in Huff, a second-year guy, I believe, a rookie in Edey, and a poor rebounding in JJJ. If JJJ goes down, they have no rim protection.
Yeah.
And they're a team that it's defensive-minded, which is why I think Sims is such a flawless fit for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Number
2.
Nice breakdown, Lee. And
I got one more.
Yeah, I know you got one more. I got the graphic queued. I got you, my guy. I got you, my guy.
Oh, let me just say one more thing. Gigi Jackson's salary, he's making 1.8 this year, 2.2 next year, 2.4 the year after. What's it called? It's accelerating contract that helps with us in trades. If it doesn't work out, it's a better trade chip, because now we can send out more money than we're getting in, because it increases every year. Another positive.
There you go. That's some cap stuff I'm sure you got from our guy Fritz.
From my man Fritz.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I'm sure that behooves the Knicks too, because the cap will be rising and we'll already have a contract that is small under our control for multiple years, which any NBA team would absolutely love. So makes sense. Makes sense to me.
So if trading Pacome Dadiot is not, listen, that's controversial. I understand. The dude has shown some really good signs in the summer league. Ebony says, free as me. I agree. Why would you want to give up on a young player? I'm only giving up on a young player if I'm getting a young player back. So trading a 19-year-old for a 19-year-old, that works in my favor when it comes to Gigi Jackson. But if you want to hold on to him and you just want to give up Sims and Pitts, my second option, Jonathan Modbo, Toronto Raptors, another team with a glut of wings, where this guy has played single-digit minutes in the last 5 out of 6 games. He hasn't played over 10 minutes. He's in and out of the rotation. He is not a starter. Sometimes he's not even part of a game plan. He's someone who I think we could target, also a rookie on a rookie stale deal, maybe 1.6 this year, 1.9 next year, 2.2 a year after that. If you trade Sims, 2 or 3 second-round picks, you will overpay, because it's Masai Ujiri. I think you'll probably end up giving up one more second than usual, but Modbo is worth it. 6'9", 225, Herb Jones build. And let me tell you, I have an inside track on this guy. Friend of a friend, close friend. Used to coach for SMU, is now a coach for San Francisco University, where he's from. And I have a group text with that coach in there. And he told me there was no expectation for Jonathan Modbo to be an NBA prospect when he was signed with their university. He turned himself into one with his work ethic. When I heard that, Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, that's your character profile. Someone who will work himself past his floor and develop a ceiling. This guy, we give Sims, what does Toronto need? All they have is Jacob Poeltl, a weak, white, European soft guy at the 5 who can't defend, rebound, or protect the paint. All the things Jericho Sims can do. You slide Jericho Sims to them, they finally have a backup 5, maybe even a pinch hitter starter depending on their lineup, and we bring in a 6'9". I'm talking about size, baby. Not 6'4", not 6'3", playing power forward. Real size. And Modbo on a rookie scale deal that gets us locked down defense. This guy is one of the best young defenders, not just in the Toronto Raptors, but in the league in terms of potential per 36. An excellent on-off numbers, excellent defensive acumen. This guy is also a Thibs dream. Someone I think Thibs would actually let crack the rotation in spot minutes and then become a rotational player next season. So those are my 2 trades.
All right. I just you just gotta admire the way that Lee talks so passionately about the players he wants on his team. You just gotta admire that. Right? Whether you agree or not.
I try to do it without being NBA 2K. I'm over here talking about Brandon Ingram, or Jeremiah Grant. Yeah. I'm being realistic, and I'm also thinking about what the incentives are.
Herb Jones, Troy, we're not getting those guys. We're not getting those guys. We're not.
Exactly. And they both work in a new CBA. Thank you, Fritz, for double checking that. Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. All right. What do you guys think of the trades? I've seen some no Bacombe. Some people are against it. Some people are for it. I seen both sides. It
looks like the Memphis trade has 83% yes, 16% no on the Memphis one.
Not bad. Okay.
Thank you.
I might have to clip this up. I might have to section this off.
It's cool. I started working on this before the reports of Sim being shopped even came out. So I was like, Kismet, and you had that ass cracked athletic trade with the writer had. I was like, oh, I need to do my own to recenter.
That's a fact. And like I said before, man, just the fact that you're starting to see Ariel get in and not Sims was sending off alarms.
Talk about it.
I was like, whoa. 2 games in a row, you don't see Sims in garbage time. You see Ariel. Things that make you go,
I'm not putting Sims in trade scenarios because I hate Sims. I have completely done a 180 on my opinion of Sims, and I've advocated how strong of a rim protector. Hell, it's not my eyes, it's stats. He's top 10, I believe, number 7 in rim protection.
Top 10 rim protection.
I don't want to get rid of him. I prefer to keep him and not make these trades and not give up second round picks. But if he's being shopped, what are the best, most realistic possibilities we go after? Here are my 2.
Yeah, and they must be seeing something with Ariel if they're doing that, because I kind of feel like they have to be comfortable if something else is happening in-house. So I feel like they might be seeing Ariel like do something or something. I don't know.
I thought about that too, Jay Ellis. There's something in the last week or 2 that I think's really given Thibs a thumbs up and the trust.
Yeah,
I agree.
Something with work. It's probably some type of workouts happening that we're not seeing there. Like, oh yeah. Like if all of a sudden Ariel gets some weird extension in like 3 years, then I know like he's been doing extra reps and stuff in the background.
I think if Thibs played Sims next to Cat, that would do a little bit for our issues we're having. You might see a little bit more grit and grind, and you might actually see the wing stop look a little better also, because they have somebody back there to erase when their mistakes happen. Because right now, as soon as they get beat, we're beating up on them because there's probably points. As soon as they get beat, you understand? So it's just like, oh, what are you doing? Rather, if it was pushing it to a bona fide rim protector.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Cat and Sims play together, because you have to imagine that Sims, Cat and Mitchell Robinson will play together in some opportunities. So why not at least give a soft version of that to test out, to see how it looks spacing wise before you go with Mitch. I'm very surprised Thibs has not employed that. That seems very Thibs-esque to have 2 bigs on the court.
Yeah, he's
especially with Precious not doing much right now.
Yeah, he's been more content with Precious and Cat and Sims and Cat. Also, I checked the assist list for us. Knicks are number 11 in the league in assist.
Yeah, I told you we're good. We're trending up, but that wasn't always the case, Jay.
but
I checked those team stats a lot. That wasn't
right,
always
but
the case.
I think this unreal. But my thing, Ebony, was
Like, okay,
my,
in the last couple of games, I'm just gonna say that because I just went through the assist list too. We got ones where we could score 34, and then one we got 18. You get that's a big difference. This is what I'm saying, and that's
yeah.
been the trend during the season.
All I'm saying is, of course, that hasn't been the way. That hasn't been it all season because we're a new team. You got to find a rhythm. Like you're not gonna have everything figured out by game 2 when you have half the starting lineup just learning to play together. So the fact that we went from 30th to top 11 in half a season is a sign of the offense being pretty okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that, Jay, but that 18th assist game came on December 27th.
Okay, then we had like a 30 assist game like the day after.
But that's a very big difference, is what I'm trying to say, Jay.
But
What are we? What is our
Ebony,
identity? Are we a
nobody in the
passing team or
NBA
not?
has a 30 assist game every like. There's going to be games where it's like, oh, it's a little you overachieve, and then this is under because it's a wonky game, and then you average it
Yeah.
out. Like that's the
We
league.
had the 2 30-point assist games that we just had were against Utah and Washington.
Okay. Now it's time to see how we play against elite teams.
Exactly.
All right. I think we talked about everything we had to talk about.
Yep.
Me and Ebony are agreed about the coach and the assist for
I love
20
it.
minutes. I think we've done that enough too. We've
And
talked
we got
about the
paid.
defense. We got a lot of super chats. What happened, Lee?
I said we got paid. That Thibs argument got us paid, man.
That Thibs already got us paid.
People
so
wanted to share their piece, man. Get their frustration
same
out.
time next game, Ebony.
I stayed out of it. I'm not trying to route up on the fire Thibs train, man. It's easy for me to do so.
I'm not there yet, Lee.
Good.
Like
Me
with
neither.
you,
Me neither.
with you. But again, I can't be just like, oh, he's winning us games. That's not enough.
Who's winning us
because
game? I missed that part.
I said
Thibs.
Tibbs at the end of the game. We can't say, well, he's won the most games out of all the coaches. He might be our Dwayne Casey. It just might be that. He might be our Mark Jackson.
And you know what? Dwayne Casey was the best Toronto Raptor coach before Nick Nurse.
I'm just waiting to see what happens. I'm waiting for the facts to unfold.
I just know that we're making this game a lot harder than it has to be. That's what's driving me nuts.
I'm just waiting for the facts to unfold. This is the most stable I've ever seen our franchise in years. We have the same coach for multiple years. It just hasn't happened. We've had this turnstile of coach. We've been in the playoffs, like 4 out of the 5 years. Haven't seen that happen since the 90s. So I'm just enjoying the ride, critiquing, seeing what happens, and evaluating as I go along. That's all. But look at the chat. Great show, guys. Next game. Who we playing next?
Philly.
Philly. It's time to beat the beat up on them. Who knows who's gonna play?
Watch your knees.
Who knows who's playing that one? Is Embiid even limping in that game anymore? Paul George playing by himself. Maxi's in. Who knows what's gonna happen? We better win that game.
Yeah. The fans over there, they be spilling all the tea. They be saying Maxi is a complainer now. They don't like the complaining that Maxi's doing on court. And I just seen a clip of PG complaining about playing center. They got PG playing center.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to win this game. All right.
You ain't lying, bro.
We need to win this game. No excuses. Yeah.
Thanks to S. Parker saying this was a great show, one for the books. I agree. It's nice to have all three of us here. The shows are always better.
Yeah, it's just been a while since we've all been together. It's been mosh posh in and out. So when we're all together, it's a different type of energy for sure.
Bet.
For sure. All right, man. One day we'll have the full Voltron here, and then it's gonna be like, yeah,
Let's go.
And it's a party. It's a party.
It's a
All right.
party.
All right, yo. How's Ryan G? Ryan G is good, guys. Life is life, and life has been life for. Honestly, life has been life for every single one of us this year. Every single one of us has gotten smacked by life this year. We just chosen to show up at different times.
Facts.
100%.
And happy you put this together and enjoy some basketball talk to get away from that stuff time to time.
Amen.
Yes.
All right, yo, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching.
Wait, what about bro picks?
Oh yeah, ooh, and bro picks. Do we have any oohs or bro picks?
I don't have one today.
The chat had a really good one that I'm going to speak for. Mark mentioned it about Julius Randle. The Memphis-Minnesota game 2 days ago was a top 3 game of the season for me. 25 lead changes, back and forth, basically a battle against a very inefficient Jaw, against a very inefficient Anthony Edwards. Jaw ended up hitting the game winner and brick 2-3 attempts to win the game. But Julius Randle, 30 seconds left. I had Knicks PTSD. I was watching and I was like, wait, is this a Knicks game? Because sure enough, catches above the break, has his man, I think it was Gobert or Nasri, I can't remember which one. It was a big. And he pump fakes, puts the ball in the court, drives to the basket, does a spin move, loses the ball, regains composure, loses it again, turns to a fast break. And that kind of gave the momentum for Memphis and finally get out in transition and not have to shoot a really awkward half-court shot, but got a shot at the rim, and that turned the tide to basically Memphis winning the game with a Julius Randle absolute fumble ISO drive. Like we've seen for 5 years. What was it, 4 or 5 years straight? Yeah.
Twirling and whirling to nowhere.
Yeah, man. Stumbling and fumbling.
Ouch.
I used to call him the discombobulated ballerina. My man was just twirling all over the place. Little whirling Tasmanian devil.
Oh man. Well,
and the worst part, you could feel the stadium when he was doing it. It was, you could feel like the white Midwestern rage. They were like, damn it, we hate Julius Randle.
That's going to be a storyline.
That's funny.
The Kings are probably going to trade for him, yo. Because I feel like
the Kings?
That would be crazy.
With him and Sabonis, you think so?
I don't know, man. The Kings I don't know. The Kings fans likes him. So I don't know. I just do it out there. I don't even know what the situation is. I feel like he always has a good game with the Kings, so they might still look at him nice.
True.
Yeah. I think
even though that would make no sense, but that's also some Kings thing to do, to have Sabonis and
yes, it is. That DeRozan trading.
You read about that. I have one now that Lee mentioned a basketball game. It's got to be Utah versus Brooklyn. Colin Sexton and what's the rookie name?
Oh yes.
Lord.
Keontae George?
No, it wasn't Keontae.
I know you're talking about. I don't know his name, but I know you're talking about.
I can't remember his name. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah.
But him and is a tie game, and Utah has the chance to take the lead. So the rookie, who I can't remember his name, has the ball. And Kyle is the guy. He has braids.
Isaiah Collier. Thanks, guys.
Yes, that's who it is.
Thank you, Isaiah Collier. There you go. So Collier has the ball. He's going up the court, and Colin Sexton is like pass me the ball.
Yeah.
He like waved him off and started dribbling like mad nonchalant and everything about it, and caught an 8-second call, y'all.
Bruh.
He caught an 8.
Pass me the effing ball.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly what he was saying.
Then him and Colin go to the bench and they arguing. They got to be separated or whatever. But so this is what I'll be saying. It's rare to find a young person that just wants to play defense is okay with not having the ball, because everybody want to score now. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to be the hero. Everybody wants to have the ball in their hands. So when you do have somebody that's okay with just playing their role, you have to honor that for real. But he did redeem himself. He did. I think he caught the game-winning layup. Collier had the game-winning layup, if I'm not mistaken. They won the game, but that was crazy.
Redemption.
That is redemption. Yeah, I
That's
saw the
crazy.
veins was coming out of his neck.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was a good one. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's my bruh pick of the day because that's nutty.
got you. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, I got nothing. Those are good ones. That's the show, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Ebony, let them know where they can find you, Ebony.
You can find me here, the post game. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and Mad Knick Fan. And pre-games, I do a space of your take on Twitter.
Got you. Lee, let them know where they can find you. Let me know. Oh, also, if you have a book club, you let them know too. Book club.
Yes. Today's book is a great American poet, Claudia Rankine, and her long lyrical poem, Citizen, about being a citizen in America. She writes as an older Black woman, but really you can read this book under any of your own individual lenses and get the same impression and profoundness of her writing. Basically, she writes in a poetic way, literally sometimes in verse, just about some of the unbelievable atrocities that have happened during the course of the American experiment, trying to make a country out of genocide and abuse and slavery and just all the awful things that have happened in America, while also her journey through the freedoms and liberties that our great experiment provides as well, and how she's able to carve out a niche for herself and make her own name as a writer is also part of the book too. So it is pretty even-handled understanding and appreciation and questioning for what it means to be an American, being American. This book came out in 2021, I believe, right after the pandemic and a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests. But it's a really beautiful book about what it means to be a speck within the American experience, with all these different cultures and races and languages clashing together, and what that looks like, and how do you find your identity when you have so many different identities going on, and what does it mean ultimately to be American and call yourself an American. Really beautiful book. Claudia Rankine, Citizen, one of my favorite poets.
All right.
Find me on Twitter at _Leescobedo, LEEESCOBEDO.
Nice. All right. Anime heads. If you're on Crunchyroll, Solo Leveling Season 2 has started. That show was so fire. Oh my god. Solo Leveling, that show is so fire. And it's funny because there's some shows where it's like, oh man, it takes you a couple of episodes to get into, and the storyline has to develop. Nah, you're gonna get in that thing, and you're gonna be in that thing. And
Pause.
Balls to the wall, all right?
Pause.
Double pause.
That thing you don't have to be. Never mind. I'll say the pause to keep it a family show. Pause. All right, word to Cam and Mason then. But even if you miss season 1, like you'll start to watch the first episode or two, and you're gonna be hooked, and you're gonna stay up to and run through that season 1. It's only I think it's 11 or 12 episodes or so. But they just dropped 2 more episodes for season 2. Yo, the fight scenes are nuts. All right. And it's all about this dude who's weak and his journey to being stronger. You know, a lot of nothing. It's not even anything super. Not anything super deep. It's just really cool. All right. It's just really cool. Soul Leveling for sure. All right. Anime heads on Crunchyroll. All right, that's the show, guys. Thank you guys for watching.
I just want to say real quick because Nick Yak had put a crazy stat, but today we lost the rebounding. Nick Yak, it was 42. I mean, we won the rebounding. 42-39. He had said that the Knicks have only. Wait, let me get the comment real quick. I lost it. Oh, here we go. Crazy stat. When we win rebounds, we only lost 4 times.
I said that in December, that's the metric that I'm rating each game by. Do we win the rebounding battle? And if we do, typically we win the game. And this was actually a game statistically. If you look at all the metrics, 3-point shooting percentage, rebounding, second chance points, outside of bench, we should have won based on the stats. But so it makes that loss even more painful.
Yeah.
A couple of calls here, a couple of bad plays there. It was a close game.
Yeah,
Tough loss.
that cat calls crazy.
That cat offensive foul. And this is the funny thing. Like, Cat hasn't been getting calls a lot this season. That's been like this
He got
weird.
the Nick whistle. He got the Nick whistle.
Yo, he's been getting this weird whistle where he just gets smacked up and never gets a call. He was actually getting calls this game. I was like, finally. But then he gets this offensive foul call on the screen, and I don't know. I'm ending the show. I'm getting pissed all over again. All right, that's the show.
Musa, don't get mad no more. We calm it down.
Yeah, you calmed it down. I was talking about anime. I was good. All right, that's the show, man. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back talking Knicks 76ers. For you guys on TikTok, we here after every game talking Knicks basketball. So if you like the show, follow us on TikTok. Same thing for you guys on YouTube. Thank you for following us. Share, please, if you like this channel and the show, hit the like, subscribe, and share. It just helps us spread the words and keep things going. All right. Also, if you watch the whole show, if you watch to the end, put some goat emojis in the comments. All right, right after this ends, put goat emojis in the comments if you watch to the end. All right, that's the show. Thank you guys for watching, and as always,
shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here. Yee.